Hey everybody, welcome to the Fake Philosophers today. I'm Mike, with me is Danny.
Hello.
And today we just came out fresh from seeing Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
Literally just came from the theaters,
Yep.
so we're going to give it a quick review. Not spoiler free, there will be spoilers in this review.
Lots of them.
Yep, so if that's what you're looking for, tune out. So just right off the bat, let's jump into it. What was your just general thoughts?
General thoughts. I think worth the hype. I know a lot of early critics came out saying this is a really good movie, and I agree with them. This was an adventure from start to finish. It was really good, really well done. And I mean, we'll get into like what we like specifically in a few minutes.
Sure.
But like just overall, solid A of a movie. Refreshing take on a genre that Marvel has tried to do,
As in like
Iron Fist,
yeah.
and failed completely. But this was nice to see, like, the martial arts genre done correctly and in terms of like mythology accurately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I would generally agree. I would say we've talked on this and other ones. We've talked about how like there's like the top tier Marvel movies and like the bottom tier. I would throw it in like the middle tier,
Okay.
to where it was good. Like I wouldn't say it's like one of the best. Like I'm gonna say it's like one of the Marvel's best, but it was definitely a good movie. I enjoyed it, and I did feel like it was different from what they've normally done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it might have been part of like the whole like kung fu martial arts aspect of it, because it did get kind of into the very much into the fantasy genre.
Yeah.
Especially in the second half when
Fairly quickly too.
yeah, especially when like all the dragons came out and the magic and all the mythological beasts and all that stuff kind of came out. So it kind of jumped to that real fast, and they kind of played it off as not being necessarily mythological on our world, but they kind of brought in the whole
Alternate
universe, different universe, which I thought was a smart way of going about it, especially since they knew it was going to come out after Loki and all that.
Yeah.
I would say, I think when we were walking out of the theater, I said it, surprisingly, better than Black Widow. And I'm not sure why that surprised me. I felt like they would put more effort into Black Widow. But this one just came out better.
I think so too. And I think it was just because it was something fresh. Like we have never met these characters before. We didn't know a lot about them, so we're generally more interested.
Sure. And I think it's one of those ones. I remember I went on Jack of All Nerds a year or two ago, obviously because of COVID. I haven't been on there for a while. Neither of us have. But when we talked about the Birds of Prey and how DC really didn't put too much marketing into it or too much press behind it, but it turned out to be pretty solid film. I feel like this one's kind of the equivalent to where they didn't put too much press behind it. 'Cause I feel like now a lot of people. Oh, before we move on,
Okay.
we have to address the quiet elephant in the room.
Okay.
We reported that there was not going to be a Spider-Man trailer.
Oh fuck yeah!
We
God
forgot to address
damn
that.
it. We did. So
So I don't know. I felt like it was. I saw multiple articles about it, about how Feige or someone said there's not going to be a Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
yeah.
We talked about it with Derek several weeks ago. We were all on the same page. And then, so we're filming this. We're filming this right now on September 5th. I feel like it was almost exactly a week ago. There was reports that it leaked online, and then like a day later.
Yeah, I think so. So how I justify them dropping the trailer, even after they said they might not, or that could be either it was false reporting. Somebody just got a whiff of it in the media and was like, no, they're not going to do it, and we like dopes
Bought into it because that's what we wanted.
Or B, they weren't going to do a trailer, and then somebody leaked it, and then the trailer we saw was Damage Control.
I thought about that too. I don't know how I think about it. Either way, I guess this is our official retraction.
Sorry.
Because when I read, we should have started with this. I completely forgot.
Yeah, and then we'll get back.
Because I saw multiple different sources saying no trailer, and I was totally. Maybe that's why I fell for it so easily.
Yeah.
Because I was totally on board. I think we talked about Endgame. I didn't think there should be any trailer for Endgame before it came out.
Yeah.
And so I was so on board. I think even you and Derek, when we talked about it, we're all on the same page. Like, this is a great idea. So we just numbed it up. Just num. And then within 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah,
completely wrong.
completely wrong. Absolutely
So
wrong.
that's here at the Fake Philosophers, we take responsibility for
Yeah.
our false reporting.
We're accountable. So
We're
sorry,
beacons of integrity, and we take it back.
but I mean, now
Going back, what I was talking about the trailer. The reason why it came to my mind was I feel like there's a lot of focus right now on, especially after Loki, a lot of focus on Spider-Man, a lot of focus on Doctor Strange, and all these aspects of the multiverse that Shang-Chi kind of got overlooked. I feel like the trailer came out, and everyone was like, yeah, and then it was like, well, what about Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and Loki and all this other shit that it kind of got washed over. So maybe that's why it was so surprising that it was good, that it shouldn't have been surprising, but because there was so much other things going on, it kind of got thrown under the radar, and it was a good movie.
Yeah, for sure. It's that meme of the mom helping the kids in the pool.
Yeah.
And the one down like below the surface who's drowning is Shang-Chi. And I mean I kind of get that. I mean it's on like the tangent kind of film timeline, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
Where it sits there with like Guardians and Doctor Strange, just not the main Marvel.
It's an offshoot.
Characters.
It's not on the same the main branch. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I mean I get that. But after seeing the movie, holy shit, do they need to like rope Shang-Chi into the Avengers now?
Yeah, and to be completely honest, I knew very, very little about the character.
I didn't know anything. I had no idea about anything.
I think a week or two ago, I glanced through the wiki, the Wikipedia, just to get an idea. And so that's literally, my knowledge was a 2-minute wiki glance through. With that said, it was kind of nice going into a movie not knowing that much, to where, okay, because like a lot of these comic nerds go about it going like, oh, it wasn't the same as in the comic, like this and that. It was kind of nice going into it going, I know nothing about this, so whatever they present me is the information I need.
Yeah.
And I think they presented it well, and they did a good job.
Yeah, and I think Marvel should take the advantage and start saying, well, shit, we got a whole slew of like B-list, C-list characters that we're not doing anything with. And I think Guardians was kind of like their first tiptoe into the water.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, let's dip a foot in, and they did Shang-Chi, and now it's just like, cool, people are receptive. Let's do Forbush Man. let's dig into
the 3 people who are going to know who Forbush Man.
Let's dig into our bag of characters and let's go all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And let's grab the ones that like nobody really knows about. Like I know they're doing the series for Moon Knight, and Moon Knight was one of those characters who was just at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
That wasn't doing anything, and so now they're doing the series with him.
They're doing She-Hulk.
They're doing She-Hulk. They're doing was it Miss Marvel now? And so yeah, I'm just like, good. Let's get these like these loved characters, these almost overlooked characters, and let's bring them to the front and let's show them off. Especially because all their mainstream characters are either dying off in the movies or retiring.
Sure. And it makes sense anyway if you look at it from a strictly capitalist point of view. You have all these characters that are in comic books that aren't in the films. By giving them films or series, all it will do is garnish attention, gain attention to their comic books, and you're going to sell more comic books. So I mean, at the end of the day, it only benefits you to spread out the fame, if you will.
Yeah, let's start selling Forbush Man comics, man.
Yeah, I have one. It's over there somewhere. But no, but going back to it. Getting into it now, it was kind of weird because like even though I enjoyed it, I almost felt it was like rushed and not rushed at the same time. I felt like the pace was not bad, just
Awkward,
just kind of weird. Like because it almost felt like at the end he was just kind of thrown into it with a lot of development. But at the same time, because I remember thinking that I was like, wow, he's fighting these fucking beasts now. He's fighting his dad toe to toe without a ton of development. And then as we left the theater and we're driving back, I was like, but wait. He did this, and this.
He's been doing this his whole life.
It was kind of a strange, and it's not a bad thing. It was just different to where they kind of skipped over a lot of things and then just kind of touched back on them. Kind of left it to the audience to judge themselves. Like I thought it was kind of interesting the way they did that with the flow. And I will say before I forget, anyone could tell me otherwise. That scene on the scaffolding. Rush Hour 2.
Oh, it was totally
inspired.
Rush Hour 2.
There was no other way around it.
Don't worry, Chinese bamboo is very strong.
Especially when it started bending. I was like, this is Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour 2. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I thought that was great.
You crazy, Shang-Chi? You crazy?
I was waiting for him to jump out, and then they'd go down together.
But no, I mean, I liked the whole. It was very kind of like a Star Wars thing where Dad's not necessarily evil. He just has motivations that don't sync up with everybody else. He's a bad guy in that he takes what he wants.
Sure.
But why he's doing what he's doing in the film is for a not evil reason. It's for love.
It's kind of an overplayed trope, but kind of like Sandman from Spider-Man 3. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm not a bad guy, it's my daughter, and even though he's fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was kind of interesting about that character. And again, I don't know the comic book references if there are any or if they changed him, but like let's just call him the Mandarin because I don't know. I kind of forgot his name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just kind of gets lost because they just keep calling him Dad.
I think it's Zhu Wu Reng.
There's a W in there.
Yeah.
But like, I think they only said it like 2 or 3 times, and when they did, you just kind of glossed over it. But he's the real Mandarin, the orange,
the
as he
orange,
refers to it. It was interesting because he does kind of start off as this like conqueror who is kind of just in it for his own ambition. Mm-hmm. Meets the woman, changes his ways. Woman dies.
Goes right back to his old
back
ways.
into his ways, and then now his motivation is to be with his woman again, even though he's being misled.
Yes.
So it is an interesting story with him. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, he kind of realizes he fucked up as he's getting his soul sucked from him.
Yep.
From the soul sucker.
God, if I had a nickel, man.
Yeah.
For every time a bad guy realized his mistake as his soul was getting sucked out of him.
As he was, what did we think of the Trevor Slattery?
So, yeah, that was right out of left field. I mean, as I kind of had a sneaking hope or suspicion that they might touch on it when the villain was like, they called me the Mandarin.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this might go to Trevor Slattery. And like, I think I was the only one in the theater who caught it before anybody else because I let out a chuckle and I was like, nobody else is laughing. Why is nobody else laughing? This is funny.
Like when you see him or when you hear him?
Well, I heard him and then I saw him in front of his vanity.
Sure.
And I was just like, that can only be Trevor Slattery.
Yeah. It took me a moment, but as soon as he turned around, I was like, of course. And like we talked about when we were leaving the theater, I thought it was going to be like a one-off cameo. Like that was going to be the only scene, but the fact they kept him in it, I was like, okay, good for him.
Good for him. Yeah. It's a performance, mate. just so funny.
Yeah, so to get critical for a moment, there were some, because we could talk about all the goods all day. Some of the bads, I did think, and this is Marvel, I've had this issue with a lot of Marvel movies anyway, to where like sometimes the silliness isn't necessary, or it's too silly, or it's not. I don't want to say not earned, but it's just out of place. Like when on the battlefield, when little Morris, the chicken pig, whatever they call him, walks up to Trevor like, "Oh, you're dead," and he's like, "Oh, it's a performance." Like I get it. You need
just
the comic,
took us out of it.
You need the comic relief. I get it, but like we are in this serious moment.
Yeah.
And I think there was a critic online who. Going back to Ant-Man, I think it was Ant-Man 1, brought it up of like, why the fuck did you do this when like, the names are eluding me, but Wasp and the original Ant-Man, the names are eluding me right now.
Yeah.
Hank.
Yes.
They're having a moment of like father-daughter, we're reconciling, we're having a moment, and then Paul Rudd's like, oh, isn't this nice? Blah, blah, blah. And there's a critic who's like, why did you need that silliness?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you just have this nice moment? And that's where I kind of, with a lot of moments in this movie, like there was really heavy moments, and then they just throw in the silliness. And I get that comic relief is nice, but like sometimes you just want to sit in those heavy moments. Like this is a big ass battle going on.
Yeah.
Like there are fucking dragons and shit, and you cut to Trevor Slattery making a joke, or you cut to Awkwafina being Awkwafina. And
I will say, like, you might have gotten like tired of her or bored with her. I thought she was great. I thought her character was because she was us. Like she was along for the ride.
Yes. I think we've talked about it here, and we have talked about it on Jack. We always refer to Jack of all nerds. I feel like they're our pals, but I feel like there's kinds of comedy, like comedy where you're aware of it and comedy where you're not. And the way I compare it, like, have you seen Everyone Loves Raymond? Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
When like you see Raymond fighting with his wife, and it's funny, we're laughing as audience members, and I've made this comparison before, but character-wise, they're not having a good time.
Yeah.
They're stressed. They're fighting. They're having a marital issue. We're laughing because we're relating to it.
Yeah.
Then there's the comedy where the characters understand that what's happening is funny. That's when, if him and his wife are laughing, and then his brother is in the other room going, they're fighting. Fuck Ray. Like that's being aware of the comedy, and that's both are fine. But like the one comparison I make too is going to Independence Day 2, when little Hemsworth punches an alien and the alien doesn't fall, and he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," huh? And like run. It's like that.
You wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that. Like you're gonna be freaked the fuck out, and you're gonna take off. So that's where like Marvel's guilty of this across the board, where Awkwafina's in this like really serious situation. Yeah, she's along for the ride and she represents the audience in that way, but like you're not making wisecracks. Like
You're scared shitless.
Like, I get like in Civil War when the heroes are making wisecracks, but this is normal to them.
Yeah.
This is like a street fight. Like this is what they're doing. So it kind of makes more sense.
Yeah.
But if you're just a regular person getting thrown into this like crazy battle and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're not going to be making wisecracks. Like I feel like I'm pretty witty, but if I'm in the middle of a fight where all this shit's happening,
dragons,
I'm just gonna be like, "Fuck!"
I'm gonna lock myself in the bathroom.
What do I do? Or if I'm gonna help, can I help? Like I don't know, but I'm not gonna be like like throwing out the one-liners.
I mean, it would be kind of the best time to get them out of your system.
I guess.
It's like I could die at any minute. I'm giving every one-liner I got.
But so I will say though, she wasn't terrible. I won't say she was terrible, but I do feel like there were moments where she didn't need to be a part of it. I do feel like her involvement was kind of contrived.
Okay. Yeah.
To where she was like, "I'm coming on the plane with you. I'm coming to here. I'm coming to this. I'm coming to that." It kind of felt like they were just taking this character. Granted, this character might be in the comic book, and I might be out of line, but I don't really know the stories of this guy. But in the movie, it felt like it was just like, we have Awkwafina.
Let's not waste her.
So we can't.
Yeah.
Like if Jackie Chan was in this movie,
yeah,
as someone who was supposed to have one scene, they'd be like, okay, no, we have Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's going along for the ride.
Yeah. And
I felt like that was with Awkwafina.
I mean, you're going to piss a lot of people off comparing Awkwafina to Jackie Chan.
No, I mean it's a name. My point is it's a name.
Yeah.
Because even like if you think about her role, like I said, I didn't really necessarily think she was annoying or anything, but if you think about her role, her only purpose for going to the next to go along with him was to be the driver. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that because they established that right away that she was a driver when they're doing their valet scene. So I remember in the valet scene, I was like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? I remember thinking, I was like, okay, he has a friend who's a crazy driver. Why is this important? Oh, because later,
third act reveal,
someone's got to drive.
Yeah.
But I feel like outside of that, she really served fine, the arrow. But like
she has her moment.
But even that though, like that's where I do get kind of irritated at that. Not just because of Awkwafina, but any movie where they have a name star, like a name star, and it's where they have to make things work around them.
Yeah.
And that it's like this bitch like would not. I'm not Awkwafina the character.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hit that arrow shot. Granted, it's a movie. There's magic. I get it. But like that could have been the sister. Granted, I know the sister was on the dragon in the movie, but like that could have been the sister throwing her rope thing, which I always forget the name of.
So do.
Yeah. But so I'm not necessarily hating on Awkwafina like the actress, but the way they always a lot of not just Marvel, a lot of movies will always have like that character where they try to push not her, like even one of the Transformers movies, the actor who played Deadpool's little sidekick, TJ.
Oh, T.J. Miller, yeah.
T.J. Miller, he was in one of the Transformers movies.
Yeah, he was in
with Wahlberg.
I think 4.
Yeah, with Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And I remember like his character annoyed me because I was like, why are you here? And then he died, and like his death is supposed to be like, oh my god, he died, and I was like, fucking good riddance. I'm tired of him. But like they were trying to push that role of like he's the guy, the comic relief that we're sad is dead. But they pushed him so hard. I was like, "Fuck, thank God!" And I like T.J. Miller, and that's his name, right? T.J. Miller. I like him, but like that character, I was like, "Fuck!" And that's where like Awkwafina in this movie was like Rose in The Last Jedi. It was just, and to clarify to the fanboys, I'm not hating on the character. I'm sorry, the actress. I'm hating on the way the character was written. And Rose was one of those characters. She was pushed to be like that cool little funky side chick. Not side chick, but side character. And that's where Awkwafina's character, again, great movie. I loved it. But like Awkwafina's character just seemed way too forced. And it wasn't because of Awkwafina necessarily. It's just like, even at the end, when Wong, in the post-credit scene or the mid-credit scene was like, all right, come with me, Shang-Chi. You come too. Why is she coming?
Why? Yeah.
Like, what does she have to do with anything? like that scene in itself kind of proves my point of like, they just have Awkwafina, so let's just keep Awkwafina on board.
Yep.
Because even when in that scene where they're talking to like Banner and Captain Marvel, she really doesn't,
Yeah.
she doesn't really provide any input or any sort of
No, because it's literally them just trying to figure out the origin of the rings, and
yeah.
clearly they don't know. And
But they're talking to Shang-Chi, and he uses them, so he has some input and he has something to say, and she's just kind of like, all right, well, I'm here. Anyway, I'm ranting on her, but like that's one of the down points to me was just simply that character, because it came off to me very much like we have a name character, we just need to keep him in it.
yeah,
To where Trevor Slatter, you can make the same argument.
yeah. So we have Sir Ben Kingsley. Let's use him.
And I mean, I can't. I'm kind of imagining how they even approach him.
It's like, hey, you want to be in another Marvel movie
As the same guy?
as the same guy? He's like, I'm not doing anything. Sure.
But even sillier? But yeah, but that was my probably main thing that turned me off. It's still a great movie, but the whole thing surrounding that character kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Didn't ruin the movie or anything.
No, I mean, and if we're gonna talk about like little gripes that we have,
Sure.
that don't take away from the movie, I did like they spent a lot of time in the third act in the big fight scene just focusing on the dragons, and I'm like, it's cool, it's visually kind of awesome to see that happen, but this is about Shang-Chi and his relationship / rivalry with his father.
I'd agree.
And I want to see that battle more than two dragons fighting.
I would completely agree.
And like we do get a little bit of a fight scene between the two of them, and it is well choreographed, well filmed. But I just wanted more. I wanted, just more of a conflict and conflict resolution between the two of them.
I would completely agree with that, because I'm trying to think of examples, but no, you're right, because the whole movie is about him dealing with his past, his father, and everything, and it kind of does shift to this bigger thing between. Not to go back to Star Wars, but kind of like almost every Star Wars movie has a micro story and a macro story. Like in the old movies, Empire Strikes Back. Sorry, there's the small story of Luke training with Yoda, talking to Obi-Wan via the Force Ghost, and kind of coming to terms with who he is. Macro story is the rebellion's getting fucked up by the Empire, and that whole thing. And every Star Wars movie has that. With this one, they really didn't have the overarching thing till towards the end. And I feel like the micro story between him and his father, which was the one we really wanted, like that was the thing, kind of got overshadowed at the end by the bigger conflict, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm with you when you build so much the entire movie towards him dealing with his family history, dealing with the loss of his mother, seeing her die in front of him, which, going back to it, I kind of like that you see these revelations later, that it's not revealed right away what happened. And then, like you said, it's a good fight, but it did kind of come in second when it came to the battle, because then the big fucking Cloverfield thing came out, and the dragon had, and like it turned to them. So no, I'd agree with you that it would have been nice to see more of that micro story.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of the post credit scene. Kind of curious what's going to happen with that. If she's going to build a new criminal empire, or if she's going to build a force for good. The way it kind of pans out and the way that they kind of leave it, it looks like she's going to become a criminal mastermind and build an empire.
So when that scene came up, when he was like, they're waiting for you, and she's like, okay, like when it started panning, you kind of see a black woman with I think a piercing or two, and I was like, oh, Wakanda.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe she's starting to do dealings with world powers, and then once it pans out, it's like, oh, that's not the case.
No.
But I'd agree with you, because then that could lead, if they end up doing a sequel to this one, because it didn't say Shang-Chi will return.
It's the 10
so the
rings.
10 rings will return.
Yeah.
So it could be
Either of them.
a sequel
Yeah.
to Shang-Chi where he now has to deal with his sister, or just his sister getting her own
Or
thing.
he shows up when eventually they get everybody rounded up to go ahead and fight Kang the Conqueror,
Or that, yeah.
because that's what they're building to now.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh God, wouldn't it be just so amazing if Loki joined the new Avengers?
You can see it happening.
I mean, it would just be awesome.
You're going off on a tangent, but no, you can see that happening, because
Yeah.
now if you're going off the Loki series, he is kind of reformed
Mm-hmm.
to where he wants to maybe not fight for the good of certain people, but fight for the betterment of existence.
Yeah.
Because if existence doesn't exist, he doesn't exist.
Exactly.
The very core motivation.
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what phase we're in now. I
Phase
think
4.
Phase 4 still.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm just trying to create the new Avengers list in my head. So we're definitely gonna have Spider-Man. He's gonna be
Spider-Man, Doctor Strange,
Doctor Strange,
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi now.
Um,
We'll probably get
I think Hawkeye will come back.
no,
You don't think so?
because the whole show is about him training his protege.
So a Hawkeye.
Yeah, a Hawkeye. Kate Bishop. Probably She-Thor, because that's what they're going to build to in Love and Thunder,
Mm-hmm.
I think. She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Marvels.
Yes.
Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and what's her name? Photon? Is that her name? I don't.
It's Rambo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau. And I think what's going to happen in this, the first Avengers, or the first Phase 4 Avengers movie, is going to be them going up against the Dark Avengers.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
Because we already have U.S. Agent.
Mm-hmm.
We have the new Black Widow, who is being herded by this Valentina, right?
Sure.
Uh,
Elaine.
Yeah, Elaine. God damn it, Elaine. But yeah, so I think that would be a cool direction to take it in. First new Avengers movie in this new phase would be Avengers versus Dark Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Because I saw something online where they went over the new Avengers. I'm sorry, the Dark Avengers, where they did say the new Black Widow, U.S. Agent. I think they even brought up the Abomination.
Abomination, yep. Iron Patriot will probably be in there too.
Iron Patriot. They brought up even like Deadpool. Could technically be a part of it.
Yep.
And there was one or two other ones.
Red Hulk.
Yeah, Red Hulk they brought up, and there was someone else that's eluding me right now, which would be cool. But so I know in the comics the Dark Avengers were pretty much a bunch of villains, right?
Yeah. So I don't know necessarily they were villains. A couple of them were anti-heroes, and a couple of them were just disgruntled heroes.
Okay, because the way this one is looking to be anyway on the surface is that they are going to be a force for good.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's going to be the intention.
Sure.
Whether or not that actually happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know in the comics they were originally put together by Norman Osborn, who was the original Iron Patriot. So, I mean, given that we're getting Norman Osborn in the new Spider-Man movie,
Well, so we
So-
we're going to review Shang-Chi, and I feel like we touched on most of the points because to finish on Shang-Chi first before we move on.
Let's do that. Yeah.
I do think, like I said, I've always in my head done bottom tier, middle tier, and top tier Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And not to say I don't think there's a bad Marvel movie. I want to make that clear. I don't think there's a bad Marvel movie, but there always has to be a bottom tier. You know what I mean? You could be in the Olympics, but somebody comes in last. Doesn't mean you're slow. Just someone comes in last. So like bottom tier to me would be like the Dark World. And
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man. I like Iron Man 3. I know a lot of people don't, but you're right. Iron Man 3 would be down there, and a couple others. Mid tier to me, I'd actually maybe throw Captain America: First Avenger into the bottom tier. Not saying that it's bad, but amongst the Captain America movies, that
it's
is
not the best.
that is the least.
Yeah.
I would even say Black Widow. I know when we talked about it with Maxwell, I said mid tier. That Black Widow might be bottom tier. Not that it's bad. Again, I'm gonna keep repeating that. And even I would say Captain Marvel would be in that bottom tier for me.
Yeah.
Mid tier, Iron Man 2.
Uh-huh.
I would say Captain America, Civil War, and Winter Soldier are both top tier for me.
Yeah, same.
The original Thor, the first Thor, be mid tier.
Mhm.
Not bad. It's a good movie, but
Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk.
yeah,
Probably mid-tier.
absolutely mid tier. Obviously, you get to the top tier. That's Endgame, Avengers. Ultron would probably be mid tier.
Ultron would be mid-tier.
Endgame, Infinity War, to be Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, Civil War.
Original Iron Man, I think, goes up there.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok goes back and forth with me.
Okay.
But
that's fine.
but still great. But so for Shang-Chi,
Shang-Chi?
I'm losing my goddamn. I haven't had a lot of water today.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. I would say the mid tier. It was a good movie.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, it does not match up to some of the other ones.
No.
But a good movie.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it is a nice refresher to where now it's like kind of like you said earlier, it doesn't follow the regular branch of the story. So now it's like a side thing, and they're going to bring him in.
Yeah.
But I think it's a solid movie, and I'm interested to see how he's brought in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I only wish they would have done a better job with Iron Fist, because I can see those two, and I think they've done a crossover.
They had to
or
have,
team
yeah.
up. I mean, they kind of had to. Like, they're the two martial artists in the Marvel comics.
Sure, and I'm sure I know there's talk of some of those Netflix characters coming back, but I think Iron Fist is probably they're just going to scrape him away,
scrape it, yeah,
and restart.
Well, I
anyway.
mean, because that's what they did with the show. They just totally like wrote it to oblivion, and just fucked everything up.
Yeah, but because I know they said before we go on to the other things, Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi.
Final thought.
It's a great movie. Definitely worth seeing in the theater.
You're right. It wouldn't have been the same at home.
Yeah, I don't think it would have.
Yeah.
It's too big
Yeah.
for home viewing. So if you do have a chance, go and see it in the theater. Especially because that's the only way you can see it right now.
Yeah.
It is not streaming with Premier Access on Disney Plus. So yeah, go see it in the theater.
Now. No, because they're talking about like what's his name playing Matt Murdock again.
Yeah. Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox. I heard there was a rumor, not substantiated, that they might bring Michael, what's his name, to be Luke Cage again.
Okay.
It wasn't a substantiated rumor, but there was talk
Yeah.
about him because he, love or hate the show, he was actually perfect.
He was
as
great
Luke
for
Cage.
it. Yeah.
And then what's her name is Jessica Jones. Everyone liked, but I think it was universally no. Like Iron Fist, everyone was like
No.
So I feel like if Disney brought the other three characters back, they would just recast or pretend like Iron Fist never happened on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. But going back to what we were talking about, all the other stuff going. Do you not remember?
What other stuff?
No, that's because we kept saying like we're going to come back to it because we're talking about just the Marvel Universe in general.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The new Avengers, the Dark Avengers. And what I was going to talk about is, so we said that we got it wrong. There was a Spider-Man trailer.
Yes.
So let's talk about the Spider-Man trailer.
Okay, let's talk about that.
It's been, like I said, a week or two, but we still talk about it.
So kind of, I mean, especially because it took everybody by surprise. We had no idea this was going to be released. I mean,
Yeah.
We thought that there wasn't going to be a trailer. So like just the fact, like, I love that, Peter's trying to live this life where he's outed now. Everybody knows he's Spider-Man. And he's just trying to do the best he can. But of course, being a mass vigilante, the cops find out and they come after him. And so I like that he goes to Doctor Strange and it's like, hey, could you make it so nobody knows who I am? And he just fucks everything up. So, I mean, given what we got in the trailer, we can tell that it's going to affect the now multiverse now, because now there is a multiverse. Whether Doctor Strange knows about it or not, and that's kind of what, like, he's ignorant of it, and that's what fucks it up even more.
So that would lead into his movie.
Yeah, lead into his movie. So I'm really curious to see if he knows about the multiverse in this movie, or if he... I mean, they say in the trailer messing with the multiverse is something that we know very little. So I'm wondering if he knows that there's a multiverse now, or if that he realizes it after he does that spell.
Yeah, I have a differing opinion about Doctor Strange in this. everyone I saw online was like, "Huh, Doctor Strange, like awesome." I think Derek was like, he's really giving that dad energy out, where he's like in the robe, and I maybe in the movie it'll clarify. I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, to me, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot going on in the Sanctum Sanctorum when there's like snow on the ground.
There's that, but like, just when he's like, I want everyone to forget I'm Spider-Man, he was just like, nope, okay. And it's like, Doctor Strange, did you not learn a fucking thing? Like, you're supposed to be like the best sorcerer, and you didn't learn a thing about changing shit?
Well, I mean, in that because I just watched the newest episode of What If. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen any What Ifs.
Okay. Oh, then we're not going to talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, don't.
Okay.
Next time.
Next time. But yeah, suffice to say, it kind of ties into this whole going back and changing things.
Sure.
And how it can lead to making things way worse.
But that's the What If aside. Like, part of Doctor Strange's arcs in his movie, Wong and what's his name say, like, you don't fuck with shit. You cannot fuck with it. The Time Stone specifically, like, you cannot fucking change things around. And then in Infinity War, he kind of says, like, okay, I went through all these millions of outcomes, and this is the one that might work. And then he even says, like, I can't tell anyone what's going to happen because then it'll fuck up what happens. Mm-hmm. So, like, he's perfectly aware of how this shit works. So it's hard for me to believe, and granted, it's just a trailer, and there's probably more context behind it, but it's hard for me to believe he'll just be like, all right, cool, let's fucking go dick around.
Well, I think it was a lot like he's confident enough in his abilities to do it, especially because, he is the keeper of the time stone. He knows how to manipulate it and use it. But I think it was Peter's constant, no, you can't change that. No, don't do this. And he was just like, no, you're fucking with the spell.
No, you're right about that. But just if I recall the trailer, he was very much like, all right, yeah, let's go make this happen.
Doesn't even give it a second thought.
Yeah, and that's where I was like, because comic book wise, I wasn't big on Doctor Strange, but like in the movies, I fucking love the way they've used him. And so just seeing him do that, I was like, huh?
What?
Is this like, really?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, and granted, when the movie comes out, obviously it'll explain all this. Like, how is him just trying to make everyone fuck with the multiverse?
And I think
that'll be explained, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I think the What If episode will tie into this. If that's exactly what's happening, I don't know, but I hope it is, because that would be fucking rad.
I will watch the episode.
I think because what happened is he's going to split the timeline.
This is in the movie or in the What If episode?
Yes.
Got it.
I don't want to spoil anything. He's going to split the timeline. So there's now two parallel timelines that exist. One where people know the identity of Peter Parker, and one where they don't. And Peter keeps flopping back and forth, and that's what's going to fuck up everything.
Okay.
And then tangent timelines are going to tie into that, and that's where we're going to get, all the villains from the other movies coming into this universe.
Yes. Which we talked about off screen. You think Osborn?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know. I'm just not getting my hopes up anymore.
It's not going to be Franco.
It could be Franco.
It's not going to be Franco. Nobody's working with Franco right now. He's blacklisted.
You're kind of right.
So yeah, it's going to be Willem Dafoe.
I hope so.
Or God help me if it's Dane DeHaan.
Who?
The kid who played Green Goblin in
Amazing
Spider-Man.
I think there was a meme. It was the guy who was like,
yeah, he sees the pumpkin girl and he's like, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think Willem Dafoe would be great. If they do have Willem Dafoe, God, how'd you hide that? Because
right.
Everything else got leaked or revealed or.
Yeah. Why would you choose to hide Willem Dafoe and not Alfred Molina?
I feel so. If it's between Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, and Willem Dafoe, I feel like Alfred Molina's like.
But he was easily the best villain of Sam Raimi's.
Yeah, but of the three stars, he's the one that would need to work the most.
Yeah,
and isn't top tier.
Wait. Willem Dafoe would?
No, Alfred Molina. It's like you could say Alfred Molina's in it as Doc Ock because like no one cares as much about Doc Ock, or I'm sorry, Alfred Molina.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It'd be like if, like, okay, so Batman, everyone loves fucking Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
So that they reported that Michael Keaton might be in the next Batman movie or whatever. They're like, oh my god, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. But if they're like, hey, Val Kilmer's coming back, everyone would be like, all right.
Well, we know Val Kilmer's not going to be doing a whole lot of anything.
I understand, but you get my point. Yeah. Like, so like if someone was like, oh, like fucking Willem Dafoe's coming back, everyone would be like, oh. But they're like, Alfred Molina. Or what's his name? He played the Lizard. They'd be like, oh, okay.
Reese Ifans, yeah. And
Yeah.
okay, so that was it. So I was trying to figure out with a friend of mine. I think it was Corey when we were at Brewery X the other day. Who all the characters are, the villains that are going to be in this Spider-Man movie, based on what we saw in the trailer. There was a quick little blink and you'll miss it of the Lizard.
There was.
So
I blinked and I missed it.
Yeah. So did I.
You saw the Lizard, or?
So it's very dark. It looks lizard-like.
Okay.
Lizard adjacent. I don't know.
Sure.
So Lizard is probably a maybe.
Okay.
Confirmed, we have Goblin. We don't know which one. Based on the pumpkin grenade that was used and the laugh we heard in the trailer, I'm saying Willem Dafoe.
I mean, that's the hope, yes.
Yeah.
Doc Ock, obviously.
Doc Ock, Electro.
Electro, is there a hint in... I only watched the trailer a couple times, so I don't know if I missed something.
You see some electricity arcing towards Spider-Man.
Okay, I do recall that a little bit. And I know there's already been rumors of Jamie Foxx anyway,
Yeah.
so...
And in that same scene with Electro, you do see like a lot of sand moving in weird ways.
So you think Sandman?
It's either Sandman or it was just like, pyro going off and not Pyro the villain. Sorry.
Okay.
Just pyrotechnics in the film going off and spraying sand everywhere. But I mean, how many is that? That's 4 or 5. So we need one more.
Once you said...
So we have Lizard, Doc Ock, Electro,
Osborn,
possibly
Sandman. So the last one, I mean...
And I know they kind of said that they are casting a Kraven the movie, Kraven the Hunter.
And they
got Aaron Taylor Johnson to play Kraven. Which I don't know how that would work because Aaron Taylor Johnson has already played...
I mean, weirder things have been done.
Yeah.
Is the Kraven movie, is that a Sony?
I think it might be a Sony because they own all the
because that's where, like, if that's the case, why wouldn't they bring in
Venom? Yeah.
Which I don't think they would, but they can now. So that's something I thought of because they announced that the Carnage movie was going to be PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why? Because they probably put Spider-Man in the movie.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Because how are you about to do a Venom R-rated movie, and then you're going to bring Carnage in
and
make it PG-13?
Yeah.
So in the back of my head, I couldn't help but think, are either of these characters going to appear in Far From Home? That's why they have to make it PG-13.
Not Far From Home. No Way Home.
No Way Home, sorry. Home.
Yeah. I don't know why they always have home in the title.
I think it was Homecoming, and they just played off it.
They just played off it, yeah.
But sorry, so No Way Home, either Venom's going to appear in that, because the multiverse gets screwed up,
yeah,
or Tom Holland will appear in Carnage, and so which Disney's like, it has to be PG-13.
Yeah. Which is funny because Disney has said, we don't have any problem with doing an R-rated movie.
They said that already Deadpool.
Yeah, that's true.
But so that's... I could see them possibly bringing Venom in. I doubt it. But I just... Off topic, I can't see how they justify doing a PG-13 Carnage movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the only things that comes to mind to justify it. It's kind of making it Disney adjacent.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So the Spider-Man movie... that I'm interested in that. I'm not getting my hopes up about anything.
No, neither am I. I'm going into it cautiously. I haven't been disappointed in a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie
No,
yet.
of course. Just in this particular one with everything.
Yeah,
the rumors and everything about it. It's like, because what they say at first, they're like, Andrew Garfield confirmed, Tobey Maguire confirmed. And like the next week, they're like, guys, no, nothing's been confirmed.
Yeah, you could talk to Andrew and talk to Tobey, and they'll say we're not in this movie.
Yeah, so that's where like. And even if the next trailer comes out, has two Spider-Mans, two Spider-Mans over their two Spider-Man shoulders, and you see Tom Holland going, huh? I'm like, nope, not getting my hopes up.
No, they're doing the point thing.
Yeah. But I'm like, not getting my hopes up. Like, nothing. Because
yeah. Honestly, if they don't do that in this movie, I'm going to be very upset.
They have to do that.
They have to do that thing.
They have to. That has to be the first scene where, like, maybe they all flip in, they're like,
huh? What? Huh? What?
It has to be. If they did on the Juggernaut bitch.
Yeah.
In X-Men.
They
have to do this. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm very curious how the Marvel Universe goes forward. I'm tempted to go on an anti-Loki rant because after rewatching a couple of those episodes, that series is full of shit. I liked it.
Uh-huh.
But the series is full of shit. Because kind of like we talked about off screen, we've talked about doing an episode where we talk about how Marvel specifically, but any
time
movie,
travel. Oh yeah,
no one gets time travel right, and Loki gets it wrong as well. If you really look at the way they handled timelines in different multiverses, if you will, because that's how, if you look at how multiverses are formed, is timeline splits.
Yep.
That's how they form.
Anytime there's a choice that needs to be
a
made,
big decision, yeah,
a decision that needs to be made, you've just created another universe.
yeah,
Yeah.
Or if and I think they Kang talks about it in Loki. Mm-hmm. Once they discovered that they can go back and start changing things, that's all these universes are formed. Yeah. And again, I'm not going to go on to the rant now, but I think I saw a title of an article, I didn't read it, saying how Shang-Chi confirms that Marvel doesn't care about the continuity anymore. I didn't see it. Mm-hmm. But I agree with the sentiment, because Loki clearly shows that.
Yeah.
That they don't give two fucks. They're just like, cool, here's the reason why we have a multiverse now. Now we can just do whatever the fuck we want. Mm-hmm. And if someone says that doesn't make sense, multiverse.
No, it's fine. There's a multiverse. Ah, shit.
Yeah. Wait a second, though. This doesn't add up, because in Iron Man 2... Oh, no, it's a different universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's exactly right.
Yeah, but no, we can go off on it. When we do the time travel episode, we'll talk about Loki and how that fucked up. But, yeah, I'm interested. I'm kind of curious about Spider-Man. I'm really looking forward to Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what Doctor Strange is going to do in the Multiverse of Madness is, one, it's either going to clear everything up and fix the multiverse, or two, make it even worse.
I'm inclined to believe the latter. Because if they already put so many other chips into having this multiverse, that trying to fix it at this point would seem...
It's too much for one character in one movie to do.
Yes. Yeah. If it's something to do with Kang, to where the Kang the Conqueror, if you will, if the previous guy was Kang the Jester, Kang the Conqueror coming in, who wants this chaos or something, and then, several movies, several series, they ultimately fix it, which, again, will be in the time travel episode, about how it's not going to make sense.
Well, I mean, what would be cool is, like, Kang the Conqueror is too big of a villain to defeat in one film.
Yes.
So, like the Avengers, the first threat was Loki and the Chitauri. The big bad has always been Thanos in the first 20 films.
He's lingering.
Yeah.
And then
I think Kang needs to be the bad guy in the next 3 Avengers movies. Mm-hmm. And it's either, it's like a Star Wars thing. You go back and forth with who wins and who gets their asses kicked.
Yeah.
So, A New Hope, Rebels won. Empire Strikes Back, the Empire won.
Yeah.
So it needs to go like that, where it's like, okay, or, Infinity War. Thanos ended up winning in Infinity War.
Yeah.
So have that happen in the first Avengers movie. It's like, we're the Avengers. We got this. We just got our ass kicked. Be back for Avengers 2. Or 5
however
or
it
6.
goes, yeah. Well, that's what it's kind of curious too, just with the movies, because the next Ant-Man movie is set, and that's going to be Kang is the villain.
Yeah, Kang is the villain.
So you have to kind of look at, is that going to be kind of Loki and Thor, toward that he's in a standalone movie and then goes to being an Avengers threat, if you will?
Yeah.
It's just curious. Because, if you rewind to when the Avengers 1 first came out, these conversations weren't happening anyway, because no one knew it was coming. Now that we experienced the whole Thanos arc, now everyone's like contemplating what's going to happen, speculating what's going to happen. And Marvel could just kind of do a rinse and repeat, or they can go a new route and fuck around a little more.
Yeah.
Which I think they're going to fuck around a little more. Because if they just did Avengers, I guess you say 5, or the next Avengers 1, let's call it.
Yeah.
The new Avengers, to where they fight a villain, beat him, and you find out that Kang was backing him.
Yeah.
And then a new Avengers 2, to where they fight just kind of a guy.
Yeah.
And then Avengers 3, they lose, and Avengers 4, they beat Kang. Like that, it's like, okay, you're just doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Or are they going to kind of change?
I hate for that to be the thing. I want Kang, because Kang in the comic books and in the paperbacks and all of that in the novels, he was kind of the
guy.
The guy. Like it was more than the Avengers could handle. So the Avengers had to recruit the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Ultimately, and even they weren't enough.
Yeah.
Kang just was like, I'm just gonna keep jumping timelines and do what I want to do. So yeah, I mean, that'd be great if like that is what happens. Like, yes, we have Kang, but like it's too much. So yeah, the Avengers have to go to the X-Men. The Avengers have to go to the Fantastic Four and recruit.
And especially if with this whole multiverse thing now, they could easily start bringing in without necessarily trying to figure out a way to, okay, how can we work the X-Men into the cinematic universe because they didn't exist already. You could just say, okay, another multiverse, another universe, you pull them in.
Yeah.
So it would be a way to actually bring in all these other franchises that otherwise would be complicated to bring in.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's going to be interesting either way.
I agree.
Like I said, we'll go on another show to where how a lot of it's just dumb, but I'm enjoying it. Anyway, to sum up, Shang-Chi, good movie.
Good movie.
We fucked up.
We did.
We said there was going to be no trailer based on false reporting, apparently.
And we're sorry.
And the trailer was good. Trailer was interesting. And a lot of speculation about the MCU going forward.
Yep.
So, yeah. On that note, any last thoughts?
No. Thank you. Again, we're sorry that we misled you, and we'll try very, very hard not to do it again.
We'll Google a little more next time. And with that, have a good one. See you later.